And it's just wonderful this evening to see such a diverse group of people here as we come together to celebrate World Storytelling Day and its theme of new beginnings. So, can you have old beginnings? Really? It just occurred to me. It just seems a bit tautologist, really. Oh yeah, I'm just beginning something that I've done before. Hello. So anyway, yeah, it's new beginnings, and it so happened as part of a new beginning for us here in Feast. We wanted to have this podcast. We had a podcast webinar back in December, and a group of us got really excited, and we went to Ridhipana Ghosh, who ran the webinar, and said, look, why don't we start our own Feast podcast? And so we did, and we launched it yesterday. The first episode is up. I don't know what your favorite platform is to listen to podcasts, but I believe we're pretty much wherever they can be. Certainly on Spotify and Google Podcast, iTunes, Red Circle, and you'll see there it's called The Story Walk. Find that and listen to it. It's a very entertaining listen. We ourselves, the six of us, talk about our new beginnings, or rather ways that we like to start stories or start storytelling sessions. And I also found myself in the hot seat for this particular episode, answering questions that had been sent in by some members about how do I choose my stories, and the really thorny one, what do you do when in the midst of a session with kids you find that they're not particularly interested? Ouch. How do you kind of regain their interest? How do you get them engaged again? So we're trying to offer some practical suggestions as well. So it's a real mix. We've said it's a podcast for storytellers by storytellers. And whether you define yourself as a storyteller with a capital S, because this is your profession, or whether you are someone who tells stories in connection with your work as a teacher or a librarian, or in social work or community service, or whether you're perhaps a parent, grandparent, we hope that you'll find something in that. So you can find it, whatever your preferred podcast platform is, just Google Story Walk and you will be able to find it. So I want to start straight off, however, with something that is familiar, and that is Meenu. Hi, Meenu. In Bangalore, those of us who had the pleasure of going to Bangalore for the conference in 2019 remember you. How are things?
Things are good. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Well, you've got a story for us, so why don't we get in and take it away?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Namaste, namaskara, vanakkam.
Namaste.
My name is Meenu Sivaramakrishnan, and I am a storyteller from Bangalore, India. So today, the story that I'm going to share with you is a retelling of an Indian folk tale from the collection by A.K. Ramanujam. So, here it goes. Hey, dum 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 dum. It was a grand wedding of the most favorite girl of the village, Saraswati, fondly called as Saro by every villager. Every villager was present at her wedding. Well, you see, there was a bit of sadness in their face, because for sure they knew they were going to miss her beautiful voice, the beautiful songs that she would sing every day in the Devi temple. And how can they forget the wonderful stories that she would tell them, be it children or adults in that village. But still, they felt good for Saro, because Saro was going to become a part of a good family. The next day, Saro and her now wedded husband Shankaran moved on to his village. It was a small house there, yet a beautiful one. And Saro would get up every day early in the morning and decorate the front of the house with beautiful, bold, and colorful columns and rangoli designs. And she was so enthusiastic to try out new recipes for lunch for both of them. And the smart girl that she was, she also helped her husband run the business very well. Now you see, time just flew by. She was so very busy that she hardly had any time for story or song. But alas, the story inside her felt so choked and suffocated. The story cried inside her, I am a story and I have to be told before I get tired and old. And the song too shared similar feelings. I am a song, I want to be sung when I am lively and young. We are the story and the song, and we are meant to be shared. They screamed inside her. But Saro could just not hear them at all in all her work. Now the story and the song got really wild. They felt that they were neglected and they knew that they have to do something to put an end to this. The next day afternoon, Saro was busy roasting coriander seeds and pulses and dry red chilies. Then, and then, zoom, doop, out came the story and the song. And the story immediately turned himself into a pair of slippers and took his place right outside the house. And the song, she turned herself into a coat and hung from the peg in the room, while Saro was blissfully unaware of this. In some time, the clock struck 7, and it was time for Shankaran to return home. Now what do you think he saw? Yes, a pair of slippers that were not his. Maybe a guest has come to visit them, he thought, and he walked in. But no, nobody was around. Then he called out to his wife, Saro, has anyone come visiting us? I see a new pair of slippers outside our house, he said. No, nobody has come. I've been all alone all day. Maybe these children playing outside would have kept it by mistake. And she hurried back into the kitchen. Now, Shankaran was not convinced by any of these answers, and he walked into the room, only to receive another surprise. There he saw a coat hanging right next to his own, and he walked back to the living room. Saro, now enough playing games with me, okay? Now tell me who has come visiting us. I'm telling you, no one has come. Saro, then what is this? Are you going to tell me that this coat has also come here by mistake? But, enough. I've had enough of your lies, okay? I've had enough. He literally barked at her, and out he went, shutting the door, banging the door behind him, deciding to spend the rest of the night in the temple nearby, leaving Saro shocked and totally hurt. Now they say in that village, the lamp flames would all meet at the Devi temple in the night, every night in fact, to share the stories of the happenings of the day. And that night, one flame was missing. Yes, you guessed it right, the flame from Saro's house. Because Saro was still upset, still confused, because nobody had yet come to claim either the slippers or the coat. And she wondered whose they could be. But unable to find any of the answers, she just put off the lamp and fell asleep. And now the flame rushed out of the house and reached the temple. As soon as she saw the friends, she began, you know what happened today? And the story and the song got so angry. So the story turned into slippers and the song turned into a coat. And it was complete confusion in the house. While all this was happening, little did anyone notice Shankaran, who was pretending to be asleep right there in that veranda in the Devi temple, but listening to every word that was spoken just now. And he felt miserable. He felt terrible of having doubted his dear wife. Yes, he remembered the beautiful voice, that beautiful song that she had sung for him when he had gone to see her for the first time before the marriage. He felt bad. The next day morning, he rushed back to his house to see Saro, who was sitting there in the veranda. Oh, Saro, I'm really, really sorry. Please, please, will you pardon me? I just behaved so badly. Please, will you forgive me? But whose pair of slippers and coat are these? No one has come to claim them. She said, Saro, I shall explain. But before that, will you promise to sing a song for me? And of course, tell your favorite story, please? He asked. But what story? What song? She did not understand anything. And she was like that. But who do you think were listening? Yes, the story and the song too. And as Shankaran took Saro's hand and walked inside, the story and the song rushed inside and jumped back into Saro right on time as she began. Tana tana na 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 la 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 la. As she finished her story and song. Wow, she felt so good, a feeling that she had probably not felt for quite some time. But by now, of course, she knew who the slippers and the coat were. And that day marked a new beginning for not just Saro, but also for Shankaran, because Shankaran promised that he would always be by the side of his dear one and support her in whatever she did. And Saro? Yes, of course, she always shared her story and song. Now, do you have a story and a song? Then what are you waiting for? Go on, go and share them. Unleash the joy, because it is also World Happiness Day today, you see. Otherwise, you know what will happen. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. What a way to begin. What a fabulous story. Thank you so much, Meenu. That was wonderful, wonderful. I just, I thought your beginning was sensational. That just kind of like grabbed everybody, and it's got better and better from there. Okay, and how appropriate to have that. Okay, and to send us all the way. What is the couplet you had there, which I just thought was brilliant? I am a story, and I have to be told. Please, what is it? Tell me the story before I grow old, or something.
Yeah. I am a story I want to be told before I grow tired and old.
Before I grow tired, before I grow old. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, very nice, excellent. Yeah, I've heard that story, but for me, you just made that really come so alive. Excellent, excellent.
Thank you so much.
And again, great use with the camera. Well, I hope that's got us really started off. And thank you, Ella. The way you just slipped in, and it was a new beginning for both her and for the husband, which is important too for him to note. Yep. So very good, very good. So now we have a different kind of new beginning because we welcome someone, Anna Maria. Welcome to Feast and this today and sharing this. And I gather this is not something that you usually do, that you are a Clubhouse person, usually an audio person, and we're actually seeing you. So we're very privileged to have you with us. Okay. So you were saying to me earlier that you work with seniors. or a lot, or at least this idea, the story that you're going to tell, has come out of your work with seniors?
Yeah, exactly. This is a story that I want to share as a granddaughter that I am, a daughter, a woman, and it is about equality and my personal story too.
Very good. Well, please, it's over to you.
Thank you. So my grandmother, Oma, as we call it here in Germany, she was a refugee after the Second World War. And so her stories of not having enough food, they always sat with us at the kitchen table whenever we shared a huge meal for some special occasion. She always reminded us how much a little piece of butter was worth for her in her childhood. And I always thought, wow, someone should record her memories and her stories. And I didn't realize at that time that it was actually my task, but I just wasn't ready for it yet. So when my grandmother, she passed away, I regretted a lot that no one ever heard the entire story of her life. And I think until this day, this little regret that I have, it made me interview so many other elderly people. I have recorded with my mobile phone more than 20 interviews already. And I'm so fascinated by each person that shares her story with me, because I can see how the eyes change when they remember something, the face changes. And these people who have lived the war in Germany, they were children back then. So it's very interesting to have this different kind of a viewpoint whenever they remember something. And it sometimes feels for me like a movie when they tell their stories and I'm like diving into their experiences and I'm learning so much from them. So especially in women, I can see a huge change when they become older, because they become more clear about what they want and what they don't want, and they express it clearly. They say no to things they don't want, and they say, please come whenever they need help. And I see so much strength in these women, and also like these women that are still alive nowadays and that can tell about the war, their mothers built up Berlin again with their own hands. So I'm really fascinated by these stories, but I also notice that whenever they tell me about the rapes after war, about the violations, their view changes. And with a viewpoint of a little girl that they were back then when they experienced these horrible crimes, they tell me, like, for example, a 92-year-old woman told me, no, I can totally understand why the rapists behave like that after war, because our men, they behaved more cruel even in the other countries first. So I understand them. I think we deserved it. And me, myself, I was still younger when I heard that story. And in that moment, I could identify with it. I could see her point. And me too, I felt guilty of our men and what they have done during the Second World War. But this year, I'm turning 30 years old, and I think differently about it now. I think it is not our fault, and I want these women that were nearly children back then, and also women nowadays, to understand that it is just not our fault, and that this collective trauma that we are all wearing on our shoulders, and there's this feeling of guilt, I really want to shake it off my shoulders because it's not mine. So what happens when I stop making myself smaller by wearing this guilt around? If I'm shaking it off, this is my personal first step towards an equality that I hope for the whole world to start and become more and more, because I know that every society and every culture, they would benefit so much from men and women being equal. And this is why I want to share this story, because I will stop make myself smaller, and I want other women also to understand that being selfless is not when we are ourselves. So when I am myself and I'm not making myself smaller but equal to other persons, then I am really able to shine, and I think I can share and express way more of the love that I have, and the respect that I have for other persons. So this is my message for all these women and for all the daughters and granddaughters, that I think it's time for equality. And I don't know in your countries, but in Germany, I already have the same rights as a woman, but I don't have the same opportunities as men have. So of course, the system has to change. Decision makers have to understand that their decisions are important, and so to form a way for me to be able to shine. But also, I don't want to point with the finger on anybody else. I see also my own responsibility of stop feeling guilty and just start to shine. And this is my new beginning.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, it's very powerful, and I think you are very right. Here in Singapore, there have been huge changes in the role of women in our society, but it's something that I was looking just today. Someone had posted on LinkedIn that they had been sharing stories about Singapore women as a way, just because we have to share these stories. And stories, it's so easy for us to remain ignorant or to neglect different sections of our society. It doesn't get much bigger than women, 50%, but we do. And unfortunately, unless there are people out sharing those stories, as you say, the kind of new beginnings that either for you personally or for a society that in your case needs to still come to terms with its past, are not going to be possible. So thank you for sharing that, and we certainly wish you well. What are your plans to do with these recordings that you have made? Are you hoping to share them in some way?
Yes, I will actually also share my website with you afterwards in the chat, and I will develop a YouTube channel for sharing these interviews and giving also like mixing them with my own perspective. So this is really a bridge between the generations that I want to build.
Wonderful. Yes, please do put that link into the chat. That would be very, very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
So our next storyteller, we are going to Turkey, and Suheda, who is also in Istanbul. And tell us a little about yourself, Suheda. Are you working as a storyteller?
I am working as a teacher, but I'm also a storyteller. I'm giving some workshops about storytelling, and nowadays I am the co-storyteller of David Hitfield in Turkey. We are running a workshop with him in Turkey.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm helping him. And there was a storytelling festival in Turkey last week, and I made up a story, not made up, but I edited a story of Mevlana Celaleddin Rumi. Rumi, I think you know Rumi, and a Turkish myth. I combined both of them, and I want to dedicate it to everyone who is trying to find his way in his path, in his life.
Please, over to you.
Hello, everyone. As I said before, I am Suheda, and if you're ready to listen, I'm ready to tell something to you. Once upon a time, once there was, once there wasn't, I don't know, but everybody says that there was a man. He was the great and great powerful sultans of the lands. He was always wearing his beautiful, gorgeous capes and, kaftans on his shoulders, covered with fuel, and walk along the way. Every day, every day, every day. He used to go out and greet all the people on his horse. He never get down from his horse. Hey, everybody was cheering. Everybody was applauding. Hey, my great Sultan, God save you, and you save us. Oh, my great Sultan. He was feeling more powerful and more greedy and more proud of this great applause to him. And one day, when he was in his own bedroom in his palace, he heard something. There was someone in his own room making fun of him. Hey, who is that? Who is laughing at me in my own room? Who dares it? He looked right, he looked left, he looked right, he looked left. There was no one. And he continued to look himself with a great admiration of his great cave covered with fur and his beautiful shape and his power. While he was looking with a great admiration of himself, he heard the same song again. You are always looking the wrong direction. Hey, who is that? Who dares in my bedroom making fun of me? He was very angry. He opened his own room's door. He went out. He looked all in the corridors, but there was no one. He went in his own room again, and he started to look everywhere. And he heard this noise again. Hey, hey, hey! You are always looking to the wrong direction. Hey, where are you? Where are you? Said the Sultan. But the noise answered him very, very quick. You are always trying to find the wrong answers to the right questions, hey Sultan. As like you are always looking the wrong directions. You are always looking right. You are always looking left. You are always looking under the bed. You are always looking above all the things. Hey, Sultan, I am in your face. I am on your table. Look at the table. When the Sultan looked on the table, what do you see? What do you think he saw?
His own reflection.
Thank you. He saw just a loaf of bread. A bread, yes. A bread was talking to the Sultan. He said, hey, you're just a bread. No, yeah, I'm bread, but I'm not just a bread. I am the true ruler of these lands. You are the true ruler of these lands? I am the Sultan of this emperor. You know nothing about ruling a great country, a great emperor. How can you dare as saying I am the ruler? So, if you want to know something about my being a ruler, I can tell you a little bit about my journey. Okay, Brad, tell me about your journey. Okay, Sultan. Once upon a time, I was a seed under the earth like you, the Sultan of the seas. I was the seed under the earth. I was lost. I was alone. I was in the darkness. It was cold. It was very, very, very difficult. I was alone. I lied under the earth for many days, for many weeks, for many months. But one day, Imre, the fairy of the lands, woke up after her long journey of her winter sleep. The Imre, the fairy, when she woke up after her great sleep, was holding 3 bowls of fire. Yeah, all of the fires named as Cemre. Imre threw one of the Cemres to the air. Yeah, the air, the black clouds went away, and it started to wind softly and warmer. And Imre threw the second fire of the ball of the fires, into the water. The ice melted. The spring started to flow, powerful, more powerful. And Imre, for the last time, the third ball of fire, she put it on the earth. The soil became softer and softer than before. And after a while, a drop of rain went down to the earth. I was touched, I was reached, I was kissed, and I was saved by the drop of the rain. Oh my God, I was cracked. I was started to live. I was went out to the earth. I saw the light, Sultan. I saw the light. I woke up after a long, deep sleep. I became a steam. I became a plant. I started to grow. And the sun greeted me. The light greeted me. I was weed. I had golden hairs. I had so many weeds on me. I was rich. I had arrived, and I thought that I had arrived to my journey. It was the end. I was rich. Do you think it was the end? No, it was not the end of my journey. It was the beginning of my journey. The people came and they cut me and they took me and they went and put me into the mills, and they pushed me and they pushed me and they pushed me. I became white. I transformed into the dust. I became a flower, a sultan. I was the flower. I was white, I was pure, I was rich. And then I met with the water for the second time. They put the water, they put the salt into me, and I became a bread. I became a dough. They punch me, they scratch me, they punch me, they scratch me. And it was not the end of my journey. They put me into the fire. They put me into the fire. While the hat was growing, I started to grow with the years, with the hat. I scratched, my brows was scratched. I became a brat, the Sultan. I lost everything that I was sitting holding in me. I lost everything with the hat. I was crunched. I was fed. I was saved, hey Sultan. Now I am saving. Now I am feeding Sultan. I am the true ruler of this universe. Everybody is trying to own me. Everybody is trying to reach me. I am the true ruler, so you know. Hey, the Sultan of the sea, what is your journey? Can you say that? I am raw, I am baked, and I am burnt. Can you say it? Tell me, what is your journey, the Sultan? Hey, in the morning of that night, somebody went into the bedroom of the Sultani bedroom. He found they say that they found the fur-covered kaftan of the Sultan in his bedroom. All of the belongings of him was in the room, but not the Sultan. He was missing. They say that he went out to find his own path. He went out to be baked, to be burned, to be himself. I hope we all find our gemrest in our lives with the help of Imre the fairy. I hope all of us start to find our journey in the storytelling way. It's an endless journey, and find our way and lost all the belongings that we're still holding with ourselves, and find the pure beauty in self. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Suheda. That's a wonderful story. And I just love the way you took us through the whole pounding and the stretching and the pounding and the stretching. And the point that resonated with me particularly was, you know, in terms of our journey, when do we begin? What is the beginning? You know, people sometimes say to me, so when did you become a storyteller? And it's like, and it's the same way when we tell a story, isn't it? Where do we actually choose the moment to start our story? Yes, you began with a sultan there who's, you know, in his room and he hears this laughing voice. So this is something as storytellers that we have to do. We have to find what is that moment. How do we do that? So thank you very much for sharing that story and tying it to us and making it a story not about bread, but about the story as indeed both Meenu and Anna Maria have also done. Really, it's these are stories, but at their heart, it's about storytelling, isn't it? And the power of a story that needs to be found or a story that needs to be shared. Thank you very much. And now another storyteller who is joining us for the first time, Zahra.
Hello.
Where you are calling from, because people have come in later.
Yes, I am reaching you from Tehran today. And I have to say, I feel very honored because today we have one of the biggest celebrations. We are celebrating Persian New Year, Nowruz, 21st of March. Yes, is the first day of our calendar. So happy Nowruz to all of you.
Well, how appropriate. Okay. And is it the tradition in Nowruz for you to make a kind of a wish or a promise for something that you want to do for this year?
Yes, that's right. That is very right. And actually, my story is all about Nowruz. It's all about Nowruz. Yes.
Well, I shan't ask you there to say anything right now. Why don't you tell the story, and then afterwards, I'd like to know what your resolution is for this coming new year. So thank you, Zahra. Over to you.
Thank you. Okay. Are you ready? I am ready. They say celebrations and festivities of a nation mark the highest degree of civilization in a society. Think about it. Why do people celebrate? They celebrate when they are free of hardship and misery. In ancient Iran, celebrations were abundant. People paid a lot of attention to their festivals. With the passage of time, rulers have risen and fallen. Cities flourished and perished. Art ceased and deceased. Knowledge gained and faded. But celebrations have remained. Festivals survived. Ceremonies lived on. Thanks to my ancestors who kept this wheel running and spinning for thousands and thousands of years to come. Because up to this very day, when the evening of the last Tuesday of the year arrives, families in Iran, old and young, feeble and fit, they gather together and jump over bonfire flames. Yes, they jump over the fire and they sing. They sing, Zardi man az to, surkhi to az man. Oh fire, take away my illness, my sadness. Give me your joyfulness. Give me your happiness. Zardi man az to, surkhi to az man. Zardi, may my paleness be yours and your red glow be mine. Yes, jump over the fire. Feel the flames beneath your body. Look at the colors swapping in the air. Listen to the sounds and the songs traveling in the dark. Feel the lightness of being and make a wish. I tell you what I wished for. I wished to be able to transform the coldness of my heart into warmth. This rigidity I carry within myself into acceptance. Someone wished for the arrival of spring, because look, it is spring, it is New Year, it is Nowruz, it's the first day of our calendar. Nane Sarma. Nane Sarma is plating her last plate, her 40th plate of her long, silky, white hair. By now, she must have cleaned and brightened all and everything in the house. Curtains, carpets, mattresses, mops, pans, pots, walls, windows, you name it. The basement, the rooftop, there is not a single spot untouched, unwashed, undusted. Some walls are painted new. Broken furniture, all fixed. Unwanted stuff, all buried away. The heavy, silky fabrics are all tied. Instruments tuned. New flowers are woven into the tablecloth. The old silvery trays are all bright. Not so far away from Nani Sarma's house, someone is on the road. Amu Nowruz. They say Amu Nowruz is Nani Sarma's husband. Some say he is her lover. Who knows after all? Amu Nowruz is on his way to Nane Sarma's house. He's been traveling for days and nights through the mountains, rivers, through the forests, fields, deserts, and dust. On his way to Nane Sarma's house, Amu Nowruz has been gifting everybody. Children, men, women. He's been gifting them with his magical tales and stories. One last story for the younger ones. One last spot before he is united with Nane Sarma. Amu Nowruz sits under a big leafless tree, next to burning flames of fire. He began his tale. My dear young ones, didn't I tell you that life is beautiful? The open sky, the golden sun, the flower gardens, the endless land. My dear young ones, this life of ours needs flames of love. در کنار شعله آتش قصه میگوید برای بچه‌های خود عمو نوروز. گفته بودم زندگی زیباست، گفته و ناگفته ای بس نکته ها کینجاست. آسمان باز، آفتاب زر، باغ‌های گل، دشت‌های بی‌در و پیکر. Nane Sarma's half-seen table is all ready by now. The candles are lit. The eggs are beautifully painted. The goldfish is jumping in the water. Oh, the incense, the smell of the flowers have filled the rooms. Nane Sarma catches very last glimpse of herself in the mirror. She thinks to herself, what will Amunoru say when he sees me? Nane Sarma looks out of the window. All of a sudden, she is so tired after all the work she has done. She grabs a cushion and lies down, waiting for Amunoru's to arrive. Nane Sarma falls asleep. Amunoru's arrives. He enters Nane Sarma's house. He has a bunch of blossoms in his arms. But Nane Sarma is fast asleep. Amunoru's doesn't dare to wake Nane Sarma up. He loves her so dearly. He watches her. He watches her breathing, going up and down. Amunoru's takes the old year away and leaves the new year behind for Nane Sarma. Nane Sarma wakes up. She sees the flowers next to her. Oh no! Amunoru's must have been there. He didn't wake her up. Nane Sarma's heart is broken. When her heart is broken, it blows. The wind blows. She cries. When she cries, it rains. It rains cats and dogs. But Nane Sarma pulls herself together and puts her sadness away because she knows Amunoru's would always come back the next year around. So she laughs. When she laughs, it is springtime. Flowers start to grow all over the earth. She laughs more and more, and there are more and more flowers coming to life. This has been going on ever since anyone remembers in Iran. That is because Nane Sarma and Amunoru's are eternal. That is because they are in love. And thus life carries on the earth.
Wow. Beautiful story. Beautiful story. Oh, thank you, Zahra. Oh, I've another wonderful story of spring, and we've just had bread, and you've now fed us with something completely different. I just love the details of the cleaning the house and the instruments being tuned, the flowers being woven into tablecloths, eggs beautifully painted. It also, you just conveyed so much of the culture that is there. And it's a love story too. And thank you. I presume it was Farsi that you were speaking at some point there during the story. which was just lovely to hear. It is something we were talking just at the start how the fest is coming, and we have received several proposals for both mother tongue storytelling, but also some bilingual storytelling. And I would love if we could get a proposal from you, not a marriage proposal, but a proposal to have a collection of Iranian stories, but to share some that perhaps bilingually, so we'd hear some Farsi as well as that. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. So tell me, what is your wish for the new year? Have you made that wish for New Year?
Yes, my main wish is actually health for my parents. I am in Iran because I'm taking care of my parents. They are both old, and 3 weeks or maybe 4 weeks before, my mother fell down and she badly hurt herself. So it's all about for them being healthy. That's all.
Sure. And there's nothing worse than a fall, as Jiva will no doubt tell you. We're blessed to say that she is recovering and that her wrists are out of plaster cast now. And that's good, encouraging, Jiva. There is signs of movement there. Very good. Excellent. So, Zahra, I don't mean to make light of that. I know how concerning it is as parents age and become more fragile, so we certainly wish them well, and that your mother makes a good recovery. So
and this is my new beginning, Roger.
Absolutely, yes. We're going to get you, I think as therapy, Jiva, we need to get you writing more things for Feast. That will keep the exercise and strengthen your wrists. Yes. So now, let us go across to Scotland, where Elaine has been patiently waiting. Oh, I love your backdrop. Tell me that is the window, the view outside your back door or something.
No, I'm cheating. I got that off Amazon.
Very good.
It's lovely outside. We're actually having some good weather, so we're very lucky because we terrible weather.
Yeah.
And now we're just getting this springtime, which is absolutely lovely.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we really miss here, unfortunately, in Singapore, in that it's the same hot, humid, basically, all the year round, very, very minor variations. So we envy you your spring. I gather you're just outside Edinburgh. I have very fond memories. I took part on the fringe of the fringe, as it were, but actually in the Radisson Hotel, which is literally across the street from the Scottish Storytelling Centre. So
that's correct.
Yeah, that was great to be there. So thank you for joining us today, and please show us your story.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be here, and the story I'm going to share is actually a traveller's tale. It's a traditional tale by Betsy White. She originally told it, and it's captured in a collection of traditional tales, and it's called The Princess and the Pups. And we're going to travel back in time to old Scotland, to a castle with a king and a queen in it. And it's a magnificent castle. Scots liked their castles, the bigger the better. They were complete status symbols, and they were all over Scotland. Quite a few of them are in ruins now. But this castle was at the peak of its magnificence. And the king and the queen, they were delighted because they had just had a new baby girl. And this completed their happiness. She was beautiful. The sunlight just seemed to shine out of her. She had golden curls, pale, fragile skin, big blue eyes. And she just seemed to smile and be content from a very early age. Oh, they were besotted with her. And the whole kingdom fell in love with this baby, and they were absolutely full of news. And unfortunately, this news got to the ears of the giant who lived across the water in a remote castle, bleak and forbidding, for no one went near it. Well, this giant was jealous. He wanted that baby. He had nothing beautiful in his life. He saw ugliness in himself. He was misshapen. He had one shoulder up here and one down there, and one eye up there and one down there, and his mouth, he was just ugly. The giantesses, no, they wouldn't have anything to do with him. So the only way he was going to get something beautiful was to steal it. And that's what he did. He waited until they'd all settled down for the night, and he stole that baby. When the king and queen realised that their baby was gone, the queen was bereft. She put her head down into her hands and she wept bitter tears, for they'd waited a long time for this baby. And the king, he was also devastated, but he knew he had to do something about it. So he said to his queen, I'll get the baby back. Don't worry, I'll get the baby back. They knew it was the giant who had taken the baby. But if you go, the giant will get you too, and then I'll have nothing in my life. He says, don't worry, nobody will know. I'll travel in disguise. I'll go now. And he left the castle. Before leaving, he changed into workman's garb, and no one would recognise the king. In fact, as he started to walk along, an old man fell into step with him and said, where are you going, son? And the king said, oh, I'm off to find work. And the old man says, aye, all right, aye, there's no much work going around here. Probably best to travel. So the king set off. And he hadn't gone that far when he met a man. And he said, what do you do, son? And this man said to him, I'm a boat builder, but there's no any work about here. Oh, said the king, well, if you come with me, we'll see what we can find in the way of work. So they set off, and they hadn't gone that very far until they saw this shifty character. He looked very suspicious. And the king said to him, what do you do, son? And the man said to him, well, if I tell you, you wouldn't want to have nothing more to do with me. Oh, says the king, well, tell me anyway. And the man said, well, I'm a thief. And I'm not just any old thief. I'm the best. I'm the best there is. And I'm not just a thief, I'm a rogue. Oh, says the king, well, come along with us. There's room in the world for everybody, son. Come on. So they hadn't gone very much further, and they came to a wood. And they saw a marksman. Arrow back, twang. Arrow back, twang. And he was hitting the same spot in the tree every single time. And the king says, what do you do, son? And the marksman looked at him and he said, is that no obvious? I'm a marksman. And I'm not just any old marksman. I'm the best you'll find in the area. Come on along with us then. We'll see if we can find some work for you. So they set off. And the thief kept them going in food and drink. He just seemed to produce it like magic. And before long, they'd got to the shore. And they could see the castle that they needed to get to. It was beginning to, the light was falling at that point. So the king said, right, no time to waste. And he turned to the boat builder and he said, I need you to build me a boat to get across that water. The boat builder says, aye, no bother. And he turned to the thief and he says, hey, I need your help. Oh, what do you want me to do? Said the thief. I want you to go and I want you to get 2 muckle big coos. That's cows in English, by the way. So the thief said, aye, no bother. No sooner said than done. He appeared, not just with 2 coos, he'd skinned the coos, for he knew the boatman needed to have the skin for the outside of the boat. And the boatman had already built the frame, so they all got together, they put the skin on, job done. Right, says the king, we need to get across that water as quick as we can. And the spirit of the wind, she seemed to hear. And she blew them on their way. And it was like all the gods of the weather were for them, because the water was glassy. And they travelled across fairly quickly. And they got to the back of the castle on the shore there. For they didn't want the giant to be alerted to their presence. But the giant, he was not only ugly, he was pretty lazy as well. And the castle walls seemed to go out and in the sound of his snores. They knew he was asleep. The king then turned to the thief and said, I need you to go in and find out where the baby is. Tell me all about the room. Okay, said the thief. I'm the best there is. I'll be in and out of there in no time. No sooner said than done. The thief came out and he said, well, the giant's got the wee baby in the palm of his hand. And there's no harm come to her. She's sleeping quite peacefully. Beside the giant, who is also asleep, there's a muckle, big, ugly, ferocious dog. That's dog in English. Oh, right. And what else? And the thief says, well, that muckle big dog, she's got 2 muckle great puppies as well. Ah, says the king. Ah. Now, do you think you can go back in and get the baby out of the giant's palm and bring the 2 puppies as well? Aye, no bother, says the thief. I'll be in and out there like that. No sooner said than done. He appeared back at the shore with the baby, and he was just passing the baby over into the boat when they heard a terrible roaring from the castle. Where's that baby? It was the giant. And boy, was he in a bad temper. And he said to the dog beside him, go and get that baby back. But the boat had already set off back to the other shore. The dog jumped in, used its big paws to swim, and was just about catching up to the boat. Right, said the king to the marksman, I want you to get one of these puppies and throw it into the water just beyond the dog. So he took the puppy, threw it, slash, into the water. The dog looked at the boat and it looked at the puppy. But being a mummy dog, she swam back, opened her ferocious big jaws, gently took the puppy and swam back to shore, dropped the puppy on the beach. The giant waved his arms. I don't want the puppy, I don't want the puppy, I want a baby. I want that baby. Get back in there. So the big dog jumped back in, splash, 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 splash. The boat was a bit further away now, but she got there just as she was reaching the boat. The other puppy, the marksman, threw it Just a wee bit further this time. Splash! They dug again. No choice this time. The puppy was further away. She just swam right back to the puppy, took it gently in her big jaws, and back to the shore. The giant, not a puppy again! Get the baby! The big dog cowered down, because she was done. And she was waiting for the giant to hit her, as was his custom. But he just, oh, if you want something done, you've got to do it yourself. And he waded across that water. He was just about at the boat. What could they do? Well, the king said to the marksman, the giant has one weak spot, and that's inside his palm, where the baby was lying. That's the only part that will kill him if you hit it. Do you think you can do that? Well, the marksman said, aye, I'm the best there is. And the giant was coming, and he put his great big hand up, just about to grip the boat. The weak spot on his palm was exposed. The marksman took his bow back and let the arrow fly. Whack! It hit the spot, exactly dead centre. And at first, the giant kept coming. And then suddenly, it was as though all the strength drained out of him. And he started to sink under the water. He put his hands up, under he went, and just the hands. And they thought, the hands disappeared, and I thought, oh, good, we're safe. Whew, giant's gone. Up they came again. Down, down, down went the giant. And all they could see on the surface of the water was bubbles, as the giant drowned. And that was the end of the giant. Ah, this time. They progressed back to the shore, and the king obviously revealed who he was at that point. And he said, now that we've got the baby back, this is a new beginning for all of us. We're going to go back to the castle and reunite the queen with her baby. And you, for your services to me, will never have to work again, unless you want to, of course. So this is a new beginning. With your reward, you'll be able to have whatever kind of life you want. And welcome you are in my kingdom, all of you. And that is the end of the story.
Wow, very nice. Yeah, love that story. Love that story. And yeah, and I just love the way that you presented it, and the kind of suddenly going up here and becoming the thief, and the whole thing with the throwing the dogs and stuff. Yeah, great fun. Super story. And sort of like, this kind of fellowship of the king as opposed to the ring. You kind of gather all these strange people along the way. It's just a wonderful structure for a story. But I hadn't anticipated tossing the dogs into the water. Shades of what's the name? Is it Atalanta and the three golden balls or something? Wonderful. Which just goes to show that the Scots actually colonized Greece and gave them their stories right long before they came up with it. Fabulous. Thank you so much, Elaine. That was really delightful.
It also reminds me of
Yes.
feast, where we use strengths from different people. People with different strengths come together, and that's what feast is all about. And that's fun. So nobody is a king here. Everybody is a king.
Thank you, Jiva. That's good. And so, Deb, you've been waiting in the wings. Hello. Wow, you've got your light shining brightly there. That looks great. Okay. How are you, my dear?
I'm fine. Thank you, Roger. Hope
That's
you all are
good.
doing good.
And it's good. I'm so glad that you renewed your membership. I'm putting that in because I'm kind of like encouraging people. Please make sure if you are going to be putting in a proposal for the festival that your membership is up to date. Yes, here we go. And you've got a story for us. It's really nice to have you tell us. It's been a while, isn't it, since you told a story for us?
Yes. So, hello everyone. I'm Debjani, a storyteller from Chennai, India. So let's jump into the story. Lila bali kor juboti shoilo bol juboti shoilo ki diya sajayu tare. Lila bali bol juboti shoy murki diya sajayu tare. Yes, Lakshmi's wedding with Ramu. Lakshmi, so different from other women. And like Meenu's story, Lakshmi was also loved like Saraswati in her own village because she was extremely cultured. And Ramu, he just followed one principle in life: eat, drink, sleep, and be merry. Still, how they got married is a different story for a different time. For now, when Lakshmi got married and learned about Ramu's reality, was she depressed, heartbroken, and why it has happened with me? Was she thinking like that? Mm-hmm. She rather made it a mission in her life. Come what may, I will try to develop in my husband at least a bit of interest in higher things of life. I'll try to bring in a new beginning. And she kept on trying this way, that way, several ways. All in vain. Ramu still eating, drinking, sleeping. Then once a renowned storyteller came to that village. He announced, I am going to perform stories from Ramayana for the next few nights. The news did spread, or a news used to spread even without WhatsApp or Facebook those days. Like, yeah. And the news reached Lakshmi. Lakshmi was excited. She thought, yes, this is the opportunity. If somehow I can send my husband there and he listens to this famous storyteller, I'm sure he might develop some interest in stories from now. So that day, when Ramu returned from work, Lakshmi requested, listen, right, go na. Where? Ramayana, to the village ground? No way, I'm not going there. Why this headache? Why this worry? Just eat, drink, and be merry. Next, drama. What am I asking? Nothing, no. Neither gold nor sari, nothing. I'm just asking you to go and listen to Ramayana for a few nights. That also you can't give me. Sometimes tricks work. If you don't go, I will assume that you don't love me. And I will go back to my parents' house. Yeah? This was a real threat to Ramu. So Ramu said, okay, fine. I'm going. Oh, kya musibbat. Crumbling, mumbling, Ramu went to the village ground. The storyteller was standing in the middle, and the villagers were all seated down there below. But Ramu was least bothered about all this. His eyes were looking for an empty space at the back. He luckily found one, sat there, and set off. Performance went on for the whole night. Early morning, as was the custom, the performance came to an end and sweets were distributed. One sweet came, sleeping Ramu's mouth as well. He woke up. Nice. And enjoying the sweet, happily he reached home. Dear Lakshmi was delighted. Ramu had spent an entire night in the village ground listening to Ramayana. Wow. She eagerly asked, how was it, Ji? What? Ramayana. Ramu's tongue touched. A bit of sweet still stuck at some corner of his mouth. Sweet, very sweet. Sweet? You liked it? You felt it sweet? Oh, wow. You have started taking interest in stories. God. That evening, once again, Lakshmi insisted, the promise you remember, and Ramu went to the ground. That day, he found a place near the wall. He leaned against the wall and very soon fell asleep. The performance started. One little boy was roaming around. Poor boy was trying to find a higher place to sit and watch the performance better. Now, Ramu's right shoulder, he found the perfect place. He came and sat on his shoulder and was watching and enjoying the performance. Whole night he watched. Morning, he stood up and left. Ramu woke up. Not so happily, he reached home that day. Lakshmi again asked, how was it? Painful. Heavy. Now getting heavier. Heavy? Heavier? You have started feeling the emotions. Oh, such a change in you. Oh, thank you. Third night, Ramu again went grumbling, mumbling, and neither he looked for the wall, nor tree, nor any interest. He just got a space near the edge of the crowd and he lay there. And as usual, fell asleep. He was snoring even. Towards the morning, a dog came. The dog's bladder was full. Oh, it wanted to release itself. It was going here and there and everybody was shooing it away. Go, go, go. Ramu was sleeping, no objection. So the dog came there and very heartily released itself. Everything sprinkled, splashed on Ramu's face. The dog left. Morning, performance got over. Ramu woke up. What is this? Disgusted, he returned home. Lakshmi asked, how was it, Ji? Terrible. It was smelly, salty. Smelly, salty. Sweet, I understand. Heavy, I understand. But how can Ramayana be smelly and salty? Something is wrong. I need to find out. Lakshmi thought. That night, while Ramu was leaving, Lakshmi said, wait, I'm also coming with you. Huh? That was not the condition. So what? Now it has changed. I am coming with you to enjoy. No, no way. I'm going to go alone. No, 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 I have to come. No, no. There was a big fight. But then, women power. Lakshmi won and came along with Ramu. And this day, Lakshmi just dragged Ramu to the front row. He sat there. He had to sit. And he was dozing. Sternfully, Lakshmi gave a nudge. Watch. He was trying to listen. And then, slowly, his eyes widened. The lines on his face smoothened. His mouth opened up. He leaned forward. He was listening and listening and listening. That day, the storyteller was telling that part of Ramayana where Hanuman had taken the ring from Lord Rama's hand and was leaping across the ocean to give it to Sita, Lord Rama's wife, who had been abducted by the demon king Ravana. But as he was making the leap, the ring fell from his hand onto the ocean floor. He was confused what to do. Just then, a voice sounded from the crowd. Hanuman sir, don't worry. I am coming to help you out. I will not let you down. I will pick up the ring for you. Guess who? Yes, it was our Ramu. And Ramu jumped onto the stage, picked up the ring from the ground and gave, yes, Hanuman sir, I have picked up the ring. This is the Sita Mata's ring. Lord Rama's ring for Sita Mata. Just take it, huh? I will not let you down. The storyteller was astonished, speechless. And then he hugged Ramu and said, in my entire storytelling journey, I have never found such an active listener like you, who had just got involved into the story in such a way. God bless you, dear. And the entire crowd cheered for Ramu. Back there, drops of tears of joy were rolling down from somebody's eyes. Yes, Lakshmi's eyes. The dream of new beginning has come. And from then on, Ramu really started taking interest in so many things. And very soon, he was considered as a wise elder in that village. So, dear listeners, if you have a dream of a new beginning to be brought into your life, keep dreaming. Yes, it will come true. Thank you.
Wow, Deb, thank you. Well, I'm sure that, if we weren't on Zoom, you would now be swamped by active listeners, and we'd all be reaching out to give you a big hug. So, yeah, take that, okay, from everybody. Thank you. Yeah, Elaine's giving you a big hug. Yeah, and I've got one there. Thank you very much. Okay, Suheda, very good. Yes. A masterclass, really, Deb, in terms of your comedic facial expressions, what you can do. I thought Elaine was pretty amazing with the one eye up here and one eye down there, and the shoulder. But you just got it here with the mouth that he drank and everything. I just thought that was absolutely gorgeous to watch. Fabulous, yeah. So economical, and I've heard that story before, but you just made it just so alive. I think we've been really, really blessed this evening. I wasn't quite sure how New Beginnings was going to resonate with people as a theme, and I don't know why I doubted at all, because it's one of the magical things, isn't it? When you put a group of people, serendipity in the storytelling, and how, again, we had no idea really what the stories were going to be or how they would flow together. And it was just kind of, we put them here in a sequence, and it's just seemed to have been a wonderful collection of stories. And something that's I'm always very keen on is when storytellers who come later in a session refer back to stories that they've heard, and you kind of connect with what's gone before you. And that happened on several occasions throughout this evening, which made it again seem as though the whole thing had been very artfully arranged. But so thank you very much for sharing that. I think this has been one of the best story swaps that we've had. Wonderful. Thank you for your variety. And it's been a delight to meet so many new tellers. I hope this is not, the first and last time that we see you. We are always open. We love having new faces to come and join us.
Can I just add something? I just want to say
Jiva.
that at such a time when people are saying the pandemic is back, it's nice to have such stories of new beginnings where you know that it's not the end of all. We all have our new beginnings. No matter what, any number of pandemic can come, but it's always a new beginning. I think with that hope, I think you should move forward. And thank you so much for the lovely stories. They're so inspiring, and in spite of my fractured wrists, I feel that not too bad. Thank God my feet are fine. So thank you very much. And I just wanted to thank all of you. It has been wonderful listening, especially when you're listening and you don't have to tell. It's even better. All the very best, and thank you so much. So it's all a great beginning. It's a new beginning for all of us, for many of us. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Go share the stories. We don't want any slippers outside your door. We don't want any coats hanging up where they shouldn't be hanging.
Thank you. See you soon.
Cheers. Thanks, Elaine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely
Thank
session.
you all.
Thank you.